Knock it down the competition with the hottest party certified hip hop and R&B mixes. 953 Jamz.
You listen to Mark Smith at Let's Live 24/7. I have Melissa Wilson, candidate for U.S. District 9, in the studio today. If you'd like to call in, you can always call in and make requests and ask questions to Miss Melissa here today at 832-743-5269. That's 832-743-JAMZ. So let's get this thing started. You ready, Miss Melissa?
I'm ready.
I'm ready. You ready? You ready? All right. Let me introduce you. Let me say, we've got Melissa Wilson, U.S. Congress, District 9, businesswoman, business owner. Let me correct that. Business owner. Successful business owner. Mother of two, married. Being a mother of two is a job in itself.
It's a job.
Outside of the business.
You know.
Now, you're just giving us a little bit about yourself. Pull that up a little closer. You're just giving us a little bit about yourself. You told us who you are and what you're doing. Tell me, what prompted you to run for District 9? See, we're going to cut all corners. We're going to get right to the meat of this thing. Because here at Let's Live 247, we've got to get the truth out. We've got to understand what it is that Melissa Wilson wants to do for the people. So what prompted you to run for District 9?
So what prompted me to run in District 9, number one, the demographics of the district. I come from a small town, like I said before, and we grew up extremely, extremely poor. And the average household probably only made about 40 grand a year. And that was considered normal for us. And so what made me look at District 9, I said to myself, these are the people that I want to help. These are the people that need me the most. It's, trust me, no shade against anyone who lives in the other districts. It's just, this is the district that identified the most with me from my background and the one that I want to pursue.
Now, let me ask you a question. You say you grew up in poverty. You grew up and the average household made $40,000 a year.
Right.
So you know what it's like to just get by.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember times where we didn't even know where our next meal came from. Times where, you know, we literally had to not eat until we got to school the next day. So I know how it is to be there, and it's unfortunate that currently today we still have people living that way. Okay.
Now, let me ask you this. You're running for District 9. You've come from somewhere. You've come from an impoverished area. You're human.
Right.
You've been through some things. You saw some things. Tell us a little bit about your background. Because as I did my research, see, there's one thing that I do. When I hit Google about a candidate, the first thing that pops in my mind, well, let's see what kind of dirt they've been doing. Let's see where they come from, how they were raised, what brought them about.
Right.
When I Googled you, I didn't find anything. So now you get the opportunity to tell your truth to the American people today about Melissa Wilson. So the first truth I would like to hear from you is, tell me about your upbringing. What brought you to where you're at right now?
So it started once again in that little small town, not far from here. And with my upbringing, I had a mother and a father initially in the same household. And then things just started going south about the age of when I was about 9 or 10. So we basically, my mother and father's relationship severed, and we had to separate as a family. Even then, my dad still didn't work because he had broke his hip, so he could not work. My mom was the only one in the house at the time working 3 jobs. So, although that relationship severed, my sisters, I have 2 sisters, and I have an older brother who's mentally ill. He's mentally challenged. So my brother stayed with my dad, who once again continued to struggle really hard after the fact. And then my sisters and I, we left and moved with my mom, and we went to the projects. And
when you say project, where you talking?
So at the time, they were called Loans Apartment. And so typically, it was a culture shock for me. I had never seen any. I mean, I came out of a home, like I came out of a home that my grandfather built for us. And then we moved there, and I'm finally seeing what the world looks like from a different angle. I'm seeing drugs, I'm seeing crack pipes on the street, I'm seeing prostitutes, I'm seeing women getting abused, I'm seeing people smoking, weed and doing drugs in front of children. So I've seen it from a different lens, and that's when I realized that, wow, I had to grow up. And so with that change came, various relationships my mom had throughout our childhood. And these relationships also had a pivotal turn in our life because it caused us to be in and out of the Child Protective Service system. So coming from a household basically where we didn't have to necessarily worry about, abuse, I now have been put in a situation along with my sisters where we now were dealing with abuse.
Had to worry about a whole bunch of other things
along with it. So sexual abuse, physical abuse, the whole nine. And so the environment became extremely dangerous for us to live in. So we were once again taken away from our mom.
Now let's back up a little bit. You said you've been through the CPS system.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what the statistics tell you about the CPS system?
I don't know the skewed statistics based on the locations, but statistically, children who come out of the CPS system don't typically become successful.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be sitting right there.
I'm not supposed to be here, and it's a lot of children in and out of the CPS system that truly go into their adulthood with the strain of their childhood, and they are coming out with issues, and these issues project into their adulthood. So at the time, there wasn't anyone advocating or that I could personally hear from myself, someone who actually came out and did well. And so I wanted to be able to see that, coming out of the CPS system. I wanted to be able to see, hey, wow,
shining light
there is someone who did well. I mean, they turned this negative energy into something positive later. So the main reason, and the one thing that drove me to want to be in a different position in my adulthood was the fact that I came from struggle. And so I don't ever want my kids to go through what I went through. So it gave me a whole different level of drive to make sure that they don't suffer and go through what I went through. It started once we were taken away and my stepdad went to prison. I went back to my dad, okay? And at that time, we had already begun, and this was around the age of 14. Well, let's take it back. I went to my aunt's house first, and then I went to my dad. So we were literally bouncing.
Okay, now hold that thought. I'm gonna take this short commercial break.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you just shared some things with us, and then, see, that can get kind of emotional.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna play this song, and this song is for everybody out there that's in that situation that you're in right now that don't know where they're gonna go. So we're gonna take this short commercial break. We're gonna be right back. You're listening to Mark Smith at Let's Live 24/7. I have Melissa Wilson, candidate for U.S. District 9, in the studio today, and we're gonna get some truth out of this today. But not only that, we're gonna see just what Melissa plans on taking District 9.
953 Jamz, your hip hop and R&B party station.
Welcome back. You are listening to Mark Smith from Let's Live 24/7. And we got in the studio today Melissa Wilson, candidate for District 9, U.S. Congress. And you just heard a little bit about her a moment ago, and we're going to come back and get into some more of this. One thing that we realize in society today, and we're learning this more and more every day, we have to understand who it is we're voting for. We have to get to know our candidates. And that's what you took the time out to come down here today. And join us at Let's Live 24/7 so the world can get to know who Melissa Wilson is. Because not only will you be representing Texas, you're going to be representing the United States. You're going to Congress. You're going to the big office. So let me ask you this. You just told us a little bit about your upbringing. You said you came from some impoverished areas. You went through a lot of heartaches, a lot of turmoil, a lot of misery. But at the same time, you gained some strength through all of that.
Right.
And that's where it's got you at where you're at today. You know, you gave us a little bit of input about your parents, your mom, your dad, and you were telling us a little bit more about your father. And we're going to go back to that because you say you went back to Dad's house at 14, you know. So as you went back to Dad's house, after we talk about this transition, we want to talk about your transition to who the lady you are that we have right here in the studio today. So tell us a bit more about Dad.
So the transition to my dad's house, I was 14. So at that moment, I was now transitioning to a new school. So basically, that high school was Abraham Lincoln High School. So it was a transition because I had to stop basically midstream the school I was attending and then transition to a new school. Once again, another culture shock.
It sounds like you're getting used to these culture shocks, though.
Yeah.
Let me not say get used to. You're starting to adapt.
I'm at that point, it was just one of those things where it was like, okay, it's just another transition I have to get through. And with my dad, he couldn't work. So I had to now transition to getting a full-time job.
So you had to grow up a little faster.
I had to grow up a lot faster than the average teenager. So I worked a full-time job from the time I was 15 to help take care of my dad and my brother. That transition forced me to grow up. It was basically forced. I was not able to do extracurricular functions like cheer or dance or any of those things that the kids have the luxury of being able to do. I had to grow up early. And that alone allowed my thought process to change. I wasn't a child. I was really an adult in a child's body, making adult decisions. And that comes from, once again, struggle and being forced to have to be the person to help take care of them.
Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit more. What got you to the point of the businesswoman that you became to be? What took you to that level?
Initially, once I graduated from high school, I decided to go to college. College, I'll be the first one to say, I got through it, but I never felt like college was for me. So while I was attending U of H, I got my real estate license, and that was due to me running into a couple bad folks in the industry. I had a bad investment decision that was made. I had some folks come in, and because I had good credit at the age of 19, 20 years old, they took advantage of that, and I got into a poor investment decision. So at that point, I said, I'm gonna get my real estate license, that way next time this won't happen. I'll know a little bit more about the industry. And that's how it initially started. It started as me wanting to get into investing, but I found my passion working with people. So I stayed in the industry, not investing, but literally helping people make investment decisions, putting people into homes.
And tell me what that looks like. What did that look like, helping people make investment decisions?
So I have quite a few people that call my phone, and so a lot of them are baby investors, a lot of them are more seasoned. So when it comes to making an investment decision, whether it be you are trying to invest into your business on a commercial strip, commercial retail space, or whether it be you're wanting to become a residential developer or residential landlord, I'm able to guide you and coach you based on your current financial goals, and if that decision that you're trying to make is going to be sustainable and good for your situation. So I get a lot of people who call me and say, yeah, I want to invest in real estate, but now we have to break that down. What does that mean for you? And that could mean long term, it can mean short term. If you're looking for long term, then we have a different angle that we may have to approach versus someone who's looking for short term. So that, and then of course, you know, I get my home buyers, the regular everyday person, the person that's calling saying, look, I don't want to be an investor. I just want to be able to accomplish and have the American dream at my disposal. I want to be able to have it in my fingertips. So at that point, here we go. I'm working with a different type of investor. Because even though you're a homeowner, it's still a form of investment.
Okay. So now we got some transition going here. From childhood, you had a pretty rough childhood.
Right.
As you went into college, you realized college wasn't for you, so you learned some valuable lessons in college. So you get off into the real world even more so, and you said, you know what, some things just it's not right. Things are just not right. So here's what I want. I got a question right here coming from one of our viewers. See, I take questions from your viewers too. But you learned some lessons. So we see in the transition. We see in who Melissa Wilson has become, who she's becoming right now,
Right.
and how can that translate into what you're trying to do today? And what do I mean by that? District 9, United States Congress. You didn't pick City Council. You didn't pick one of the local government offices. You picked United States District 9. Al Green, the incumbent. And we're going to get into some more about that in a minute, but why did you choose this route? Why go to the big stage? Because it sounds like everywhere in your life, as you came from the youth to your college days, you took steps to get there.
And let me revert back to the whole college thing. It wasn't for me, but I still have a college degree.
Right, okay.
So I'm not a quitter. So I did get my college degree. So what brought me to the larger scale is I feel most change that I can benefit the people with is on that scale, especially with my experience in the industry of real estate, insurance, the whole nine. A lot of these regulations that are going and passing through the House on a day-to-day basis, you have people who are coming from various industries in Congress. You have everyday people in Congress. You have teachers, you have doctors, you have attorneys. And the big thing that people need to understand, what better person to help with these regulations than someone who does this for a living?
But we hear that so much from candidates.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep it real.
Right.
Every candidate gets on and talks about doing a certain thing.
Right.
They'll boast that certain thing up, and we don't get that.
Right.
What's going to change here? Why do you feel that you can give the people something for District 9 that Al Green's not giving, or any other candidate may run against Al Green? What puts you above the other? What makes you above the rest?
Well, number one, because I actually care. I'm present in the district. I'm currently there. I'm serving that district. Unfortunately, some politicians get into a position where they have won the hearts of the district, and they fail to lose sight that you need to be there involved in the district. Transition I have to get through. With my dad, he, once again. Okay, all right, we had a little hiccup. All right, so I get it. I don't have a background. I don't have a history of a record in Congress that you can go by. All I have at this point is my word. And you can rest assured that most people that you come in contact with that have worked with me, I'm a person of my word. You have to listen to what people need. And a few of the regulations and campaign slogans that I've been hearing when it comes to healthcare, real estate, I feel like I can benefit my constituents by at least telling them what's really going on in that community. I'm a licensed property and casualty insurance agent. So I will tell you firsthand a lot of the things that have been proposed on many campaign trails. I can go in with firsthand knowledge on what it's like on the side of insurance, what it's like to write an individual policy, what it's like to write a group policy, and the benefits that many of our congresswomen and congressmen have proposed in their campaign, why it's beneficial or why it's not beneficial.
Okay, because I'm reading here your bio. You said you're a successful real estate business full-time. You run a successful insurance and real estate business full-time. You have been in real estate for 14 years and currently hold a real estate broker's license and mortgage loan originator's license. So I guess that goes along with your plan. One of your campaign issues is affordable housing. Affordable housing. What does affordable housing look like to you? Because we hear a lot of candidates say, and we hear a lot of current politicians say affordable housing, it's about affordable housing. And the first thing they want to do is put income restricted housing in their districts or allow this to come into their areas. I mean, what does affordable housing look like to you?
So this is what it looked like for us. So affordable housing is being able to get everyday folks into a home without having as much capital as many of the lenders are requiring when I say affordable. And of course, it's based on their income, debts, etc.
So you decide to make everybody a homeowner.
I want everybody to be a homeowner. I really do. And it's what I'm passionate about. And here are some things that changed recently within the last, I'll say, since 2000, we're going to say since 2008. There's some misconception on exactly what happened in that era. In that era, Obama inherited a problem. Okay, so I was originating home loans in that era. There were many stated income, stated asset. You just had to be breathing and you can get a loan. Mm-hmm. I don't mean I want to take it back there by all means at all. That was pretty irresponsible of the lenders and the bankers to do that. I'm looking at it from the angle of right now, the FHA insured program. It used to be where we could do 100% finance in FHA. Well, now there's a minimum investment requirement now. I run into many people who are making average incomes, okay, maybe 40, 50, 60,000 a year, who just quite can't afford a down payment. They can't. And it's because our everyday cost of living is going up, inflation. So what do you do for those people? I hear many politicians saying, oh, I want to give down payment assistance to a certain demographic. Well, you really don't even have to take that route if you just think about the FHA insured program and open up financing again.
So wait a minute. You mean to tell us that there's a way for me, the average everyday Joe, to have the same thing that the upper class has? There's a way for that to happen?
There's a way for anything to happen if you put your mind to it.
Okay.
And I don't mean giving away. I mean, you have a lot of politicians throwing out, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you that. No. There's a way to do it without taking any form of handout. You can do it by credit education. We can do it at the upper level by making some revisions to the FHA program. There's many ways to do it. Currently here in Texas, we have put some things in place in Texas for our homeowners to get in. And I have quite a few people who have literally moved in with zero money.
Okay.
Quite a few, zero.
So your biggest issue right now, one of your biggest top campaign issues is affordable housing for all.
Affordable housing, healthcare, and everybody's gunning for healthcare, and I get it.
Okay.
My main concern, and this is being completely transparent, my health insurance business has flopped down to zero. And it's because of the introduction of the Obamacare, the Affordable Care, which was a good thing. and most people feel like, oh, that wasn't good. You know, you have our counterparts criticizing Obamacare a lot. It was good.
So you're saying, despite your business going to zero, you still appreciate Obamacare?
I appreciate it.
And why is that? What do you see? Why did you appreciate it so much? Though you lost so much money, you lost a great amount of income.
I lost a great amount of income, but I remember writing and quoting individual policies for people who were denied because of surgeries, who were denied because of a pre-existing condition. I remember seeing premium hikes when it got to underwriting, and I had to build a case around why this person who has blood pressure issues, why they should have a health insurance policy. People don't understand how health insurance works. It's a business. There's a lot of overhead involved. You have salaries, commissions, you have all these things that you're paying for in the health insurance private sector. The employer's also paying into that. I don't think people understand that in Texas, your employer pays half your premium in Texas. So the average person that I may write on a group policy who's 35 years old may be an $1,100 premium with a $3,500 deductible. So Obamacare mitigated some of that. And so some of those people I would have normally run an individual policy for, they went to the health marketplace for it.
Affordable housing, healthcare, some of our biggest problems here in our economy now, in our city, and even in the United States. Everyone has a problem with healthcare. Everyone has a problem with affordable housing. So you say you want to tackle these two things.
Right.
You also say you want to tackle common sense tax breaks for non-custodial parents.
Mm-hmm.
That just about has everybody that's paying child support doing backflips and cartwheels. Explain that to me. What do you mean common sense tax breaks for non-custodial
Here's what that
parents?
looks like. So if you came to me and that father wanted to buy a home, he's on the hook as a liability for child support. That reduces his debt to income ratio. He's paid taxes on this money already. The mother, of course, doesn't have to pay taxes on it. I would like to see that father get some form of tax break because he's already taken a hit, even on our end, when it comes to that. I don't, by all means, the money is for the child. That is not what we're proposing. I'm a big advocate for fathers taking care of their children because I came from a household that needed that money, okay? And in my case, it was my mom. I want to see some form of tax deduction because they're getting hit two ways. When you come to me, you're getting a liability and you're not getting a tax break for it. I'm not quite sure how about we can go about that angle, but my goal was to present the idea so that as members of Congress, my constituents, we can come up with a plan for that.
You just said your members, your constituents, and your members of Congress. Hey, what kind of, now let me go to Al Green for a minute. Let me ask you, Al Green, here you have a man that's been the incumbent since 2005. He's been in office for the last 14 years. He's got a fan base. He's got followers.
Right.
He's got history as a politician. He has history as our congressman. What puts you above it? What can you say to the people right now? What can you say to America right now that you can say, hey, this is why I deserve to have this position? Tell us what it is that puts you above him, that you feel that you can win this election, that you can get past this. That you get past the 14 plus years in Congress. And then outside of that, he was a Justice of Peace in 1978. So he's been entrenched. Mm-hmm. And then the money he has that backs him, he's able to put his awareness out there. He's able to put his picture out there, his image out there. We don't know Melissa Wilson. We haven't seen Melissa Wilson. So what can you tell the people right now today?
So when you elect your president of the United States, as people, you give them a chance. Some of them may have a history of political background, some of them may not. But you give them a chance. The main question is, what is he currently doing right now? Is he in the district? Is he there supporting the people? Is he answering your emails with your concerns? That's the main question.
Go ahead, come on, I'm listening.
Okay.
We're gonna hit this comment right quick. I'm gonna cut you off because I want to
Okay.
stop right there. You about to say some real good stuff now. Come on
Okay. I want to know, what is he doing right now other than the agenda of impeaching the president? We have way too many issues going on, not only in the district, but in this nation. Way too many issues to make that the only focus. You have funding upwards of close to 500,000 or more, if not more, within these last couple years. And I want to see, where is the people's money going?
Hold it right there. You're listening to Mark Smith with Let's Live 24/7 right here on 953 Jamz. I have Melissa Wilson, candidate for District 9 in the House this morning. She's a live interview here, and she's talking about some key things. She talked about her childhood. Now she's getting into her political platform. Some things that need to change in District 9. So we're going to take this small commercial break, and we're going to come right back, and we're going to talk about some things, because she just said something about focusing our attention somewhere else than where it ought to be. If I'm not mistaken, that's how I heard you. So we're going to come right back after this commercial break, and we're going to continue with this thing. We've got Melissa Wilson in the house. You listen to Mark Smith from Let's Live 24/7.
Streaming 24/7 from the center of the hip-hop R&B universe.
Listen to Mark Smith from Let's Live 24/7. We have Melissa Wilson in the studio this morning. We've heard some great conversations so far. We've heard some good things about her past, some bad things about her past, but in all, we've heard about who Melissa Wilson is. The woman that's running for U.S. Congress, District 9, against United States Congressman Al Green. She's got a lot, big shoes to fill. As I was saying before, you have a man that's got a history as our congressman. He's got a history in Washington. And here you are, you coming in and you feel you can bring about a change. You told us about your affordable housing, the health care, which you're very much familiar with. And what I heard from you, now correct me if I'm wrong, what I heard from you when it came to this affordable housing and this health care, you said your health care business lost a lot of money due to Obamacare.
Right.
But that didn't bother you.
No.
So what I just heard you say is, what's more important to you than money and anything else are the people.
Period. Period. Is what's beneficial for our nation. And many politicians mean well. They mean well, and they have true intentions of doing what's right. My concern is some have lost sight of that. And when you're focusing so much of your energy on one thing, you tend to forget that there are so many other issues that need to be addressed.
Now, when you say they lose sight, how can you assure me if I'm going to vote for you and I'm in the community and you're talking to me as you're doing your walk-in? How can you assure the people that you won't lose focus, that you won't lose sight, as everyone else has?
Well, once again, all I have is my word, because y'all don't know me. But what I can tell you, I am a person of my word. I will be in the district. I will be hosting these town halls. I will be there telling you exactly what's going on in Washington. And just the unknown scares us all. Like, it scares us because we don't know what's going to happen this next election. And we need a Congress that's going to be on board for this change. Yeah, many people have been holding congressional seats for decades. How can real change happen if you're going to continue to vote the same people in?
You said real change, how will that happen? One of your other campaign issues, see, this is what change needs to happen, the economy. You sound like a woman that's real big on economic development.
Right.
You sound like a woman that's real big on every family being able to be self-sufficient. What is your campaign issue concerning the economy? What do you see?
My biggest campaign issue let's start with the Obama administration, the Trump administration, is an upward spiral from the Obama administration.
Which is really pretty much well known in every administration.
Right.
You're going to adapt either the downfall or the upheaval of that administration.
Right. So let's start with there. And he started with healthcare and second housing. Housing's tied to so much. You got jobs behind this, construction jobs. You have originator jobs, bank jobs. It's tied to the housing market. Interest rates staying low keeps the economy leveled, if not going up. So the biggest indicator at this point for our economy is maintaining wage and inflation, minimum wage and inflation. Once again, the Trump administration has an upward spiral from the Obama administration. So I'm not going to give them credit for that. But I can say what I'm seeing right now presently, there's minimum wage on the table, okay? And I feel at this moment with inflation, minimum wage should not be under $9.
Have you heard the latest? They say if they increase the minimum wage, because it's right now, they're drawing the legislature for it,
Right,
to $15.
right.
We're told that over 7.1 million people will lose their jobs.
I'm actually not for a $15 minimum wage. I said wage keep up with inflation, meaning a $15 hike in minimum wage will cripple that small business owner. I'm a small business owner, even though I pay more than that because I know what it costs to live. A almost 100% hike in the minimum wage will cripple our economy. It should be a gradual increase. I believe in minimum wage gradually increasing. You have people who've worked very hard for where they are, who's making $15, $16 an hour. And a lot of those people are gonna be upset because now minimum wage is 15 bucks. I'm looking at it from the standpoint of the small business owner as well. Imagine that daycare owner. Imagine that daycare owner who has 8 or 9 staff members getting almost 100% increase in their wages now. They're gonna be closing their doors right now. That's way too much in my opinion. I think it should be a gradual increase when it comes to wage. Maybe not 15, but maybe $10.50 or $11. It should be a gradual increase over the years so that the economy has time to recover. We won't be able to recover from that if you hit the employer with that off the bat. The increase in their operating expenses alone will take some of us out. And so jobs will be lost, and guess what's gonna happen with unemployment? Unemployment is gonna go up. So you have to be very cautious when it comes to when you're making financial decisions for the economy and look at it from all angles. That's why you need business owners and people who are there who know what it's like to run a business.
But a while ago, now let's go back to raise the opposed legislation in Congress was to gradually raise it to that $15 an hour level. So if you're saying that it would cripple the small businesses to have minimum wage at $15 an hour
Right now.
over the long haul. Now you're saying with the economic development, $15 an hour will cripple my business, but at the same time I want everyone in my family, everyone in my district to have equal footing.
Right.
So how does that balance out to say that if we raise minimum wage right now to $15 an hour, now in District 9, instead of living in Sunnyside in District 9, if they increase my minimum wage, I can move on over into the Fort Bend section now. But now you're saying it will cripple your business. Well, no, I no longer can work for you. So now I'm even in a worse position than I was.
I don't think so, because you have to remember employers are gonna have to supplement that cost and wage. So everything's gonna go up. The cost of that McDonald's burger that you're getting, the cost of that Coke that's $1 through the drive-through is now gonna become $3, $2. So everything's gonna go up. So is it really benefiting us? Because now these employers and businesses are going to have to increase the prices of their goods. So that same $15 an hour will probably still look more like $9 an hour by the time you're done paying the increase in goods, the increase in groceries. I remember when I used to pay 89 cents for gas. What is gas right now? $2?
Wait a minute, Mary. Did y'all just hear that? Melissa Wilson, she said it herself, y'all.
Yeah.
She remembers paying 89 cents a gallon for gas. I'm quite a bit older than her. Quite a bit older than America. I think she was watching TV back at the end of the day. She wasn't driving. But yeah, you're exactly right. And we need to get back to the basics of things.
Right.
So I agree with you. There's some things that the people don't understand. So let me ask you this. I'm in District 9 and I need to know some things. How can I find out from my congresswoman, should you be elected to this position? I need to know some things. And every time I pick up the phone right now, I can't get no answer. I send out an email, nobody answers my emails. Well, no one responds to text messages anymore. How can I get an answer? If I want to reach out to my congresswoman, how can I get that answer?
So, being that I am a millennial, it's no secret, I am a millennial. There's so many ways you can contact me. You have social media, you have Twitter, you have Messenger on Facebook, email, text. I would prefer in this case an email so it's official record, but if you send me email, I will make sure I have the staff available to read every last one of them. Every last one of them. I heard some concerns in the district maybe a couple months ago with someone who was needing something from our rep, and she said the same thing. She could not get a hold of him. The problem is with many people who are in leadership, this is where we fall back on losing sight. You get too comfortable and you feel like, I don't have to do this. When you go on your job, you have a manager, you have a boss, you have someone that you can reach out to with issues. This is an elected official. If you're an elected official, this is your job. Your job is to address the needs of your constituents. That is your job. And my plan is to have, if not myself, staff that are constantly getting these emails, addressing issues, social media. That's a big one. Everyone's on social media now. Twitter, Facebook. If you have to reach me that way, I'm okay with that.
So you're saying you have complete transparency in your office?
Complete transparency.
Complete transparency. That's what we need in America. We need complete transparency, because what I'm seeing and what we're all seeing nowadays when all these political offices across the United States, there's no transparency. We can never find out what we need to find out. We only get the small portion of it, and it leaves us scratching our heads.
Right.
Now, you listen to Mark Smith from Let's Live 24/7. I have Melissa Wilson in the studio today, U.S. Congress District 9 candidate, running against Al Green, the incumbent, and she's shared some things with us. I want you to know Melissa Wilson as the person she is, to give her the opportunity to come here to tell us who she is and explain herself, because at Let's Live 24/7 we believe in telling our own truths. We can't tell anyone else's truth, because that's just giving you a portion of it. We're real people living in a real world with real problems, looking for real solutions. And as you've heard from yourself right now today, this morning, Melissa Wilson has given us some real solutions to some of the world's problems in our Congressional District 9. You spoke a minute ago about the impeachment, and we talked off mic about the impeachment. What is your position on impeachment? Why is he taking such a stance on this? Why is he changing gears? What's the issue with that? What do you see that?
So what I'm seeing, and this is really the reason I push so hard to get my information into the FEC. I'm seeing way too much focus on it. It's way too much focus on it. Trust me, I want him gone just as much as everybody else does. At the same time, I don't want to see a party split, and I don't want all of the energy directed to just that, because we have other issues going on in the district around this world that we could be addressing. So with any failed position or any failed task, you pick up, you keep moving, you don't quit. I don't expect them to quit, because eventually you're gonna have, instead of 95, you may have 105 or 130. The problem is, what about the other issues that we need to address? What about these issues that are just laying on the table? You have to focus on that. If you fail at one thing, okay, let's look at affordable housing for a second. Let's look at that now, because I've obviously failed at getting this impeachment resolution through. Well, let's look at something that we need. But when you're directing your energy only to one cause, you're crippling us. We need your voice. We need your voice. We need you to be that voice, not only in the district, but nationally for these other issues. Get on board with your congresswomen and congressmen with some other bills that may be beneficial to us.
Y'all hearing it yourself, America. Melissa Wilson, U.S. Congress District 9 candidate. We're going to take a small break. But before we go, I want you to know you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at 953-JAMZ. If you'd like to call in at 832-743-JAMZ. That's 832-743-5269. If you got some questions for Melissa, while she's here in studio, ask her the questions. This is how you get out to find out who you should vote for. You talk to your candidate, ask them the question. Ask them the tough questions. Only question that's a dumb question is the one that you don't ask. So you listen to Mark Smith here at Let's Live 24/7. We're going to take a small commercial break and we'll be right back with Melissa Wilson.
Streaming 24/7 from the center of the hip-hop R&B universe. 953 Jamz. Your hip-hop and R&B party station.
Hey, welcome back, America. See, we had to spread our wings, and that's what we got. We got Melissa Wilson in the studio today, and she's spreading her wings. She's come from somewhere, now she's going somewhere even further. She's our candidate for United States District 9. She's running for Congress. She said, you know what, I'm not thinking about running for no city council. I want to do it on the big stage. She wants to help people. She wants to do more for the people in her district. And why does she say she does that? Because she lives in the district. You mentioned earlier that you're active in your district. How active do you get in your district, and how far in your district does your activity stretch to?
So basically, most of my business is in that district, actually. So
now your district is pretty wide now.
Yeah, it's pretty wide. It's pretty wide. So most of my business is in that 77047, 77053 to 77072, 7183. That's where most of where I host most of my seminars, where I'm doing most of my business as far as the agency is concerned, the insurance agency. Right now, I am doing seminars outside of the district because of location reasons and availability. But if you ever want to find one of my seminars or any of those financial seminars that I host for free, you can actually go on my
free is good.
Yeah, for free.
I like free.
It's free. I give you this information for free, so you can find it. So each month it's at a different location. So hopefully I'll be in negotiations with some venues in the next couple weeks about hosting some of those along the Missouri City, I'll say South Park area.
Okay. District 9, I'm looking at the district map right now as we're speaking. And District 9 goes into South Acres, Crestmont Park, Sunnyside. What can the people of these communities expect from Melissa Wilson should they vote for you for this position? What can the people of Sunnyside and South Acres, what can they expect from Melissa Wilson?
Well, they can expect at minimum a response to their needs. So that's my biggest concern when it comes to those in leadership, responding to the people, finding out what they need. So my goal is to find out what is actually needed in these communities, what is needed in that community. What can we do as politicians on the federal level to help out in that community? And if it's something that I personally can't do, there are constituents on the local level that I can network with. There's constituents on the state level that I can work with on addressing those needs if it is a local issue. On the federal level, my goal is to listen to their concerns. I can bring a listening ear and an additional voice to the needs in that community.
Now we got a great problem. This is one of the most widespread problems, and you and I have talked about this once before. And one of the greatest problems, and one of my deepest, it's one of my deepest things, one of the things I hold a passion to, and that's for criminal justice reform. And criminal justice reform is not only something that's needed on the local level, but we need this at the federal level as well. What is your position on the criminal justice reform? How do you see, or do you see yourself making this one of your platforms as well? Because in these areas, as I've showed you in part of your district, you know, we have a lot of bad behavior, I'll say, in those areas. They have a lot of people that feel that they're lost and have no hope. So what can you do to help the individuals in this area by way of creating economic development, by way of helping reform the criminal justice system right here in our own area, in our own backyard?
So I'm a huge advocate, okay, for criminal justice in the aspect of, I feel, and being completely transparent, I feel as a Black woman, I watch many of my Black men succumb to the system. And when I say that, you have one angle that's an ongoing issue right now, law enforcement killing our Black men. I wanted to see more from Mr. Green when it comes to those issues. I wanted to see more because he is our Black voice right now in our district. I'm not seeing that. When you think about issues on the federal level, it affects all of us as a nation. And it's no secret that Blacks, minorities, suffer the greatest penalties when it comes to the law enforcement industry, including death. I want to see more of our Black leaders speaking up on these issues. And I'm glad you got to that point because I never could get to it because of all the other questions. But it's a huge issue in our community. And there's no accountability at this point. So with no accountability, it leaves room for error. And when you have minorities in leadership, I'm not gonna even take it to just Blacks. I'm gonna say when you have a minority voice in leadership, when I say focus, I mean this is one of the focuses that I'm not seeing. Politicians afraid to speak up on it, these issues. Politicians afraid to offend someone or afraid to lose funding because they may have spoke up on an issue. I don't care about that dollar. Your voice needs to be used for these issues because in those areas like Sunnyside, South Park, they're impoverished. And what happens when there's no reform in the criminal justice system? It becomes a rotating cycle. It becomes a revolving door. And I don't want to see that. I'm tired of seeing our Black men going down to the criminal justice system. And even now to this day, death. And nothing's been done about it. Nothing's even been said about it. Nobody's bringing a bill to Congress saying, hey, you know, where's the accountability for these police officers that got off?
Well, they say this legislative session was one of the most productive, even though there were a lot of criminal justice bills that were knocked down, but they said it was one of the most productive legislatures that they've had in a long, long time. So I agree with you there when you say that there's reform needs to be done. It needs to, and it needs to happen across the board because it not only affects us here in our backyard, it affects us nationally. Melissa Wilson, United States Congress candidate for District 9. Before you go, is there anything that you would like to share with the people? Do you have any events going on? Is there anything you want to tell the people? This is your moment. It's all about you today.
What I will say is follow me on social media, on Twitter. I just started that page, but I would love to get, you following that page so you can follow my progress throughout this grassroots. It's at Melissa for Congress on Twitter. On Facebook, it's Melissa Wilson Williams for Congress. You can Google that and find it. And I'm also on Instagram at Melissa for Congress. Follow me, because this is a platform that most don't use as much, but I'll be using heavily these platforms so that I can get the word out about near upcoming events. I do have a seminar that is coming up. It is a financial seminar, down payment assistance seminar. It's coming up on August 10th at the Sienna Plantation Library. So if you know anyone that wants to attend, I will be giving free information, free education, free literature for you so that can help you with that goal. And future events will also be announced on all those platforms.
Awesome. Y'all heard it yourself this morning from Melissa Wilson, United States Congress, District 9 candidate, running against the incumbent Al Green. Melissa, I thank you for your time this morning. You've been awesome. I hope that you've given everyone out there what they've been looking for. And I always encourage each and every individual, when you're going out and you're meeting candidates, and you're hearing about these different candidates, it's always best for you to get to know the candidate. Don't just listen to a name and vote for a name. Get to know who you're voting for. Find those like-minded. We have to get out and rock the vote, y'all. We've got to get out and vote. So I want to thank you once again for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, and feel free anytime. You're welcome here. So I want to thank Melissa Wilson, and we're going to take this short break. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at 953JAMZ, or you can look us up at www.953jamz.com. You're listening to Mark Smith at Let's Live 24/7, where we tell our own truths, because to tell someone else's truth is only simply a version. And as I was a kid, my mama said we need to hear it from the horse's mouth. Mm-hmm. And this morning you heard Melissa Wilson tell her truth.
Streaming 24/7 from the center of the hip-hop R&B universe. 953 Jamz. Your hip-hop and R&B party station.